At the edge of the Milky Way, a colony called L-Star is boiling with unprecedented passion. Countless lightspeed spaceships lined up on the starting line like silver arrows, surrounded by giant stands suspended in space. Audiences from various galaxies cheered through holographic projections, and the sound surged in like a tide. The colonial buildings on L-Star are stacked on top of each other, integrating the human steel skeleton and the shining light of alien ores. The nebulae in the distance float like ribbons, reflecting the opening ceremony of this galactic light speed competition. Once a year, this place becomes a battlefield for talented pilots. They not only compete for the glory of the championship and the astronomical bonus, but also prove that they contain the speed limit of the universe. Chengze sat in the cockpit of the self-made spaceship Thunder, tapping the control panel with his fingers, his heartbeat synchronized with the low roar of the engine. He is only 25 years old this year. His hair is messy, as if he just climbed out of the maintenance cabin, but his eyes are as bright as stars. Growing up in an edge galaxy, he had an almost obsessive obsession with speed. It felt as if the universe was calling him to conquer. If my parents were still here, they would definitely laugh at me for being crazy, he said to himself, with a smile on his lips, but I just want to be a blockbuster. The hatch slid open and Lian squeezed in, carrying a bunch of quantum coils and tool boxes in his hands. This guy is Chengze's best friend. He is an engineer. He wears a pair of old-fashioned goggles and is always covered in engine oil. Hey, Chengze, are you in a daze again? Have you warmed up the engine? There are 5 minutes left for the race, don't let my hard work go in vain. Lian said as he got into the back cabin and skillfully connected the last data cable. Chengze turned his head and patted his shoulder. Stop talking nonsense, I can trust the system you adjusted. Is that vortex stabilizer stable just now? It almost capsized my boat during the last test. Lian poked his head out of the back cabin and grinned. As stable as my mother's braised pork. This Thunder is the brainchild of me. It has a homemade light speed engine and quantum boost, which is guaranteed to make those big shots ashes. Remember, don't start too hard, and save some energy to overtake in corners. He handed over a cup of hot drink, which contained interstellar coffee, which was bitter and sweet, refreshing. Drink, I'll treat you to Milky Way steak after the championship. Chengze took it and took a sip. Deal. Lian, thank you. If it weren't for you, I would still be driving a cargo ship on the Edge planet. The two of them have been partners since the academy. Lian is in charge of the head, and Chengze is in charge of the blood. This tacit understanding is enviable. At the starting line, the engines of other spacecraft began to roar, and the air was filled with the smell of ionization. Chengze looked through the window and saw the advanced warships flashing with blue halos. The elite pilots from the central galaxy were all pretending, and some were even live broadcasting on the holographic screen, showing off their sponsor logos. Suddenly, a shadow passed by. Jahan's spaceship Shadow parked next to them. It was produced by the top factory in the galaxy. Its streamlined hull swallowed up light like a black hole, and a faint purple arc emitted from the engine port. Jahan himself leaned against the hatch and glanced around with a sneer, his eyes like knives. He is the last champion, in his early 30s, and the scar on his face is a souvenir from the last competition. It is said that he deliberately did not dodge the meteorite to become a legend. New rookie, he whispered through the communicator, and his voice was transmitted into Chengze's cabin. Can your broken boat survive the first turn? Or do you just want to join in the fun? Chengze tightened his grip on the joystick, suppressed his anger, and replied, Boss Jahan, if you sit on the championship throne for a long time, you will get calluses, right? Today I'm going to show you the ruthlessness of the Edge Star. Lian laughed softly from behind. Ignore him, that guy's ship is made of money, we rely on our brains. Jahan snorted, and the hatch was closed. His shadow trembled slightly, like a beast ready to go. The surrounding pilots whispered, and some recognized Chengze's Thunder and laughed at it as a homemade toy. However, more people were attracted by the tension of this confrontation, and their excitement surged like electricity. The voice of event organizer Guo sounded from the holographic broadcast. He is the event director of the Galaxy Alliance, and his tone is steady like a veteran. Dear pilots, welcome to the 147th Galaxy Lightspeed competition. The track spans 7 major galaxies, is full of quantum storms and black hole backflows, and is 5 light-years in length. The rules are simple: whoever touches the finish line first wins. But remember, speed is life. The audience cheered like thunder, and Guo's image flashed on the stands. He smiled and waved, with the sponsor's flashing logo behind him, looking fair and selfless. The countdown started: 10, 9, 8. Chengze took a deep breath and flashed through his mind the scene of watching a game at Edge Star when he was a child. At that time, he vowed to stand on this stage. Lian, the system is fully activated. Lian responded, Roger. The light speed engine is in place, the quantum shield is 100%. 3, 2, 1 launch. The thunderbolt shot out like an arrow from its string, its engine spurting out blue and white flames, instantly breaking the sound barrier. The track is a twisted space tunnel, with twinkling nebula barriers on both sides. The first straight section makes all the spaceships squeeze into a ball. Chengze's fingers were flying, maneuvering the ship to shuttle between opponents, avoiding a heavy cargo conversion ship. It's so exciting, he yelled, while Lian laughed in the communication. The right turn is coming, slow down by 0.5%. Chengze made precise adjustments, and the boat slid sideways, narrowly escaping from Jahan's wake. Jahan's shadow was half a hole ahead and cut into the bend gracefully, but Chengze was not to be outdone and pushed up the engine output. The thunder roared and its speed soared to 0.98 the speed of light. The surrounding landscape flew by like a dream, colonial planets stretched into long lines in the field of vision, and quantum storms were like colorful vortexes trying to pull the ship's hull. Other pilots began to fall behind, some hit fragments of the invisible meteorite, and the flames of the explosion flickered in the rearview mirror. Chengze's forehead was sweating, but he loved this feeling. His heartbeat and speed merged into one, as if he was running in the pulse of the universe. We can catch up. Lian said excitedly, the signal strength is stable, keep the rhythm. Just as they entered the second galaxy sector, the dashboard suddenly flashed red. An abnormal quantum signal broke into the system. It was not interference from the track, but a pulse from an unknown source. Chengze frowned. Lian, what the hell is this? Quantum communication has been hacked? Lian quickly tapped the screen. It's not a hacker. This is the original signal, the encryption level is super high. Decoding. The signal unfolded into a holographic image. On the blurred star map, an ancient structure slowly came to life, pulsating like a giant crystal at the edge of a black hole. The accompanying text was ancient runes, which Lian's system could barely translate. The ancient guardian awakens, the galaxy is swallowed, the crisis is coming. In the image, countless galaxies collapsed like dominoes, indicating that the resurrection of an alien civilization would bring about a cosmic catastrophe. Chengze's eyes widened and his heart sank. This was not an illusion. The intensity of the signal went straight to his mind, making him feel a chill. What does this mean? Chengze murmured, and the ship shook slightly. Jahan's shadow stretched far ahead, but this signal made the race seem insignificant. Lian's voice was urgent. Chengze, the source of the signal is deep in the track. It selected us, perhaps because the quantum antenna of the thunder is too sensitive. Chengze gritted his teeth and tightened his grip on the joystick. The dream of speed is still there, but now, there is an extra layer of shadow. He couldn't just ignore it. If this was true, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Lian, let's chase him. We'll check it as we race. I want to find out the details of this signal. The thunder accelerated and rushed into the next corner. Chengze's eyes changed from passionate to determined. The secret of the universe is waiting for him to uncover it at the end of the speed. The curves opened like the sharp teeth of a giant beast. The hull of the thunder was slightly twisted at the speed of 0.98 light. The nebula wall in the field of vision stretched into a long strip, and time seemed to slow down by half a beat. Chengze gritted his teeth, his fingers flying on the joystick, pushing the engine output to the limit. Shahan's shadow spread out in front, and the dark spaceship slid through the wake of the curve like a ghost. The purple arc of the engine flashed in the darkness, mocking the pursuers behind. Damn it, that guy's ship's curve coefficient is at least 0.95, Chengze cursed, sweat dripping from his forehead. Lian, give me something to catch up with. Lian's voice came from the communicator, mixed with the crisp sound of typing on the keyboard. He was still remotely monitoring the logistics station on L-Star, and the screen was full of real-time data from the Thunder. Don't worry, buddy. Your quantum booster is a little overheated. I'll lower the cooling cycle now and add a temporary overclocking mode for you. Remember, don't rush straight ahead, there is a quantum storm at the front of the track, waiting to swallow the boat. Lian's tone was like chatting in a street restaurant, with a relaxed and reliable tone, which relieved Chengze's nervousness by half. This is the tacit understanding between the two of them. Ever since the simulation competition in the academy, Lian has always been able to stabilize his position in chaos. The thunder roared, and the booster sprayed out a stream of blue particles, reaching a speed of 0.99 the speed of light. Chengze felt his heart being stretched, and the pulse of the universe rushing straight to his forehead, but he loved this feeling like running wildly in the blood of the Milky Way. Shahan's shadow suddenly slid sideways to avoid an incoming quantum storm. That thing was a classic obstacle on the track. It distorted the space like a colorful tornado and could paralyze the engine with just one touch. Ha, newbie, the storm is coming. Shahan's sarcastic voice entered the communication channel and was broadcast to all the players. Can your toy boat hold up? Or is this the only ability of the freight boy from Edge Star? Shut up, Shahan. Chengze choked back, with anger in his voice. I'll leave you to sit on the championship throne, I just want your exhaust. He yanked the joystick, and the thunder passed by the edge of the storm, its hull trembling and drawing an arc. The particles of the storm hit like raindrops, the shield flashed red, and the alarm sounded harshly. Chengze's vision blurred for a moment, and his mind flashed back to the days when he was driving an old cargo ship on the edge of the planet when he was a child. At that time, he learned to dodge in the rain of meteorites. Now, this is just an upgraded version. Lian, the shield is down to 85%, hurry. Roger. I'll inject quantum stabilizer into the remote end and hold on for 10 seconds. Lian operated quickly, and the data on the screen scrolled like a waterfall. With fingers as nimble as a pianist's, he adjusted Thunderbolt's quantum systems and repaired a glitch, a slight leak in the booster's heat pipe that would have added to the storm. Done. Now your boat is as stable as an old dog, catch up and bite its tail. Lian laughed, his tone full of pride. We are not made of money, but of brains and hard work. Remember? That time in the academy, you won the inter-school competition in my modified boat, relying on the coils I temporarily welded. Chengze grinned, and the pressure instantly became much lighter. That's right, you were called a dog by your instructor that time. Thanks, Lian. Without you, I would have capsized long ago. This conversation was like a warm current, strengthening their trust, not just empty talk, but mutual support in crisis. The thunder steadily emerged from the storm and picked up speed. Shahan's shadow was 100 meters ahead, and the arc at the stern seemed to be provoking. Chengze took a deep breath and entered the superlight navigation mode. Time dilation turned the surrounding planet into a still picture. He accurately cut into Shahan's blind spot and tried to overtake. The track suddenly narrowed and entered the meteorite belt. Fist-sized fragments flew around like swarms, coming from the debris of nearby asteroids. Shahan's shadow dodged gracefully, and the ship's hull twisted like a water snake, using advanced AI to assist in predicting its trajectory. Boy, the meteorite will not spare you. His voice sounded again, with a sneer. Chengze didn't panic, his skilled flying instinct came online. He pushed down the nose of the ship, and the thunder shuttled between the debris. When it passed a meteorite, the hull made a scream of metal friction. Too close. Lian shouted over the communication, turn left 15 degrees, I saw a big piece. Chengze immediately adjusted to avoid the half-meter diameter meteorite. The fragments grazed the shield and sparks flew everywhere. His heartbeat was beating like a drum, but there was a hint of clarity in his mind, not pure passionate impulse, but calculation of every step. Jahan was in the lead, but Chengze's adaptability began to show. He no longer pursued hard, but used the self-control flexibility of the thunder to find gaps in the obstacles. Dodging again and again made him feel the edge of growth. Speed is not just a dream, but he also has to carry bigger things. That mysterious signal pierced my heart like a thorn. After the storm, the track entered the black hole return zone, a simulated micro-black hole edge, where gravity pulled the ship's hull like an invisible hand. Jahan's shadow rushed in first, the space around the ship was distorted, and the starlight in the field of vision was bent into a ring. Chengze followed and almost let go of the joystick. "Lian, the engine is pulling strongly. How is the signal?" he asked while dodging. The abnormal quantum signal was still flashing in the system. It had not been interrupted since the intrusion in the first chapter. Lian's voice became more focused. I analyzed it as I edited it. The signal was not random. It pointed to the anomaly point of the third galaxy on the track, a quantum node. It was supposed to be a relay station, but the data showed that the energy fluctuations exceeded the standard, as if something was interfering with the entire network. This thing, maybe it's not a natural phenomenon. Quantum communication should be instantaneous and seamless, but if it is manipulated, the galaxy's communication network will be destroyed. He paused. "Chengze, what do you think? This signal picked us. The thunder's antenna is too sensitive? Or, we are being targeted?" Chengze frowned, his mind spinning rapidly. The pure pursuit of speed had caused him to ignore too much, but now, the prophetic images, the awakening of ancient structures and the collapse of galaxies, made him doubtful. Damn, quantum technology is a life-saving straw, if there is a loophole. He murmured, and his short inner monologue was like lightning. After my parents left, I just wanted to prove myself, but if this is true, I can't just care about the championship. A sense of responsibility is like a seed, quietly sprouting. He suppressed the frustration of being thrown away by Jahan, focused on adapting to the backflow, raised the shield, and stabilized the ship's trajectory. Lian, continue to decode. Let's dig while we compete. I want to see this anomaly with my own eyes. At this moment, the system flashed a new pulse, not garbled code, but a clear voice, a female voice, soft but urgent, as if coming from the depths of a nebula. Pilot Chengze. I am Yuchan. The source of the signal is at the heart of the track, avoiding surface pursuit. It is hidden in the blind spot of the quantum circuit. Jahan's ship has a tracker, be careful of the shadow. The voice was intermittent, accompanied by runes flashing, vaguely providing clues, a coordinate offset, pointing to a hidden node in the middle of the track. Chengze's eyes widened. Who? Lian, is this a hacker? Or? Lian tapped faster. Not a hacker, the encryption level is higher. Yuchan. She sounds like a quantum expert. She didn't show her face, but the signal was pure, like an insider. Chengze, this clue is precious, and the heart of the track is the anomaly. If what she said is right, Jahan might be involved in something. Suspense filled the air, Chengze's doubts deepened, and his trust in quantum communication began to waver. This is not a simple competition, there is a bigger conspiracy behind it. At the end of the black hole reflow, Jahan's shadow emerged from the leading lap, but Chengze held on. The thunder failed to overtake at the last moment, but the gap was reduced to half a hull. The stage siren sounded, the end line of the first stage was in sight, and the holographic cheers from the audience came like a flood. Chengze gasped and slowed down, the ship slid into the energy field of the relay station, and Jahan's laughter faded away. Boy, see you in the next chapter. Lian's voice was excited, we are holding on. All faults have been repaired, and the signal tracking plan has been launched. Go straight to the anomaly point, and dig out Yuchan's details while competing. Chengze, you can do it. Chengze nodded, his eyes firm, and the fire of responsibility ignited in his chest. He looked at the star map, and the hidden nodes flickered like ghosts. On the speed track, there is now an additional battle to chase the truth. The Thunder's engines roared, preparing for the next sprint. The energy field of the relay station enveloped the Thunder like a warm embrace, and the ship's hull trembled slightly and slowed down. Chengze let go of the joystick and rubbed his sore wrists. On the screen, the rankings of the first stage flashed. Jahan was firmly in first place, he was second, followed by several veteran players. The audience's holographic projections were boiling outside the station, and the Galaxy Alliance's live channel roared with commentary. What a wonderful start! The Edge Star boy Chengze actually bit the champion's tail. The homemade flavor of this Thunder is so strong. A deep male voice sounded, with an official and fair tone. Chengze glanced at the communication panel, which was a projection of the event organizer Guo, a man in his early 50s with short gray hair, wearing an Alliance uniform, and a standard smile on his face. Everyone, take a 5-minute rest. The second stage is about to start. The meteorite belt is waiting for you. Remember, speed is king, but safety comes first. Guo's tone was steady, as if he was reading the news, but when his eyes glanced at Chengze's screen, he paused slightly, as if he had been watching for half a second longer. Chengze's heart skipped a beat. This old guy's comments were always impeccable. They sounded fair, but made people feel like they were hiding something. Lian, did you hear that? Safety comes first. Ha, I'm afraid Jahan's ship doesn't have this concept. Lian's laughter came from the logistics station, with the sound of humming machines in the background. I heard, this guy Guo does this every time. He said this in last year's event, and 3 ships capsized in the meteorite belt. Ignore him, I have all the data here, and I added a new module to your quantum system, which can manually modulate the signal jamming. Remember, practice while flying, don't just rely on instinct. Lian's voice was like an old friend exhorting in a tavern, which always made Chengze feel that his backing was solid. After the two of them graduated from the academy, they worked together like this. Lian's head was the soul of the Thunderbolt, and Chengze's hands were its wings. The alarm goes off, 5 minutes are up. The Thunder's engine reignited, a stream of blue particles spurted out, and the ship slid out of the relay station and into the second stage of the track. In front of him was the interstellar meteorite belt, a chaotic sea of debris, with debris from the nearby asteroid belt flying around like bullets at 0.95 light speeds. The starlight refracted between the fragments, and the vision was as mottled as a broken mirror. Chengze pushed up the accelerator, his heartbeat speeding up. Come on, meteorites, who's afraid of who? He murmured, turning the joystick slightly, and the Thunder dived into the first gap like a fish, and a palm-sized stone grazed the nose of the ship, making a muffled sound. Jahan's shadow led the way. The advanced spacecraft's AI system predicted the trajectory and elegantly twisted the hull to avoid a series of meteorite chains. Boy, the meteorite belt is no child's play. Jahan's voice entered the public channel again, with a sneer, your broken ship can't last 3 minutes, just wait for me to distance itself. As soon as he finished speaking, the stern of the Shadow's ship suddenly emitted an invisible pulse and interference wave. It was a tactical attack allowed by the competition, using the quantum field to distort the trajectory of surrounding debris, causing the meteorites to hit the pursuers as if they were attracted by a magnet. Fuck! Jahan, are you playing dirty tricks? Chengze cursed. The meteorites in his field of vision suddenly accelerated, and 2 fist-sized rocks headed straight for the Thunder's flanks. He jerked the controls, the ship slid sideways, the shield flashed yellow, and a piece of debris hit, causing the instrument panel to shake. Lian, interference wave. The engine is pulling, help me stabilize. His voice was urgent, but not panicked. He had practiced this trick during the simulation training in the academy, but he didn't expect Jahan to use it so early. Lian's knocks were as dense as rain, Roger. His wave frequency is standard match type. Now I push back your quantum shield and inject the anti-jamming code. Hold on, don't hold on, flash left 10 degrees. On the screen, Lian's base screen switched, full of waveforms and data streams. He squinted at the remaining fragments of the mysterious signal and began to decode it from the abnormal point in the first stage. Chengze, there is something wrong with this interference wave, it has an overlapping frequency with your signal. Wait, I dug a little deeper. This signal is not random noise, it is embedded with ancient runes. It is like an alien prophecy, telling that a sleeping civilization wakes up and will paralyze the galactic quantum network. Think about it, if quantum communication is broken, intergalactic trade and alliance orders will be disrupted, and our spacecraft engines rely on it to synchronize. There was a buzz in Chengze's head, and a brief inner monologue flashed through, this is not just a competition. If something happens to the quantum network, those poor boys on Edge Star will be cut off from basic supplies. I can't just chase speed, I have to learn to protect it all. He gritted his teeth and responded while dodging, ancient alien? It sounds like a science fiction movie. But Yuechan's voice, she knows the inside story. Lian, keep digging, I try to manually adjust the quantum system. His fingers moved to the sub-panel, and the new module lit up. Lian added it remotely last night, allowing the pilot to personally operate the quantum frequency, not entirely relying on AI. This is the beginning of growth, from a purely passionate driver to an all-rounder with some technical knowledge. Deep in the meteorite belt, the density of debris increases, like hail in a storm. Shahan's interference wave came again, this time more violently, distorting the space within 10 meters, causing the meteorite to form a temporary vortex. The thunder was sucked into the edge, the hole rotated, and Chengze felt his stomach churn. Damn, my vision is messed up. He shouted, forcing himself to focus, manually switching the quantum frequency, and following the steps taught by Li. First lock on the source of interference and inject the counter wave. Lian, is the frequency correct? Is 0.7 too high or too low? It's a little lower, adjust it to 0.65. Yes, that's it, now increase the shield output, your ship will bite back his wave. Lian shouted excitedly, and the waveform began to reverse on the base's screen. Shahan's voice sounded, with a hint of surprise for the first time, what? Can this toy boat of yours counter interference? Humph, it's just good luck for a newbie. But his shadow moved slightly sideways, widened the distance, and the attack was suspended. Chengze took a breath, the thunder stabilized, and passed through the whirlpool. A large meteorite passed by, causing sparks to fly. He grinned, thanks, buddy. This quantum thing is not difficult. It feels like an upgraded version of navigation on an old cargo ship. The feeling of growing up came to his heart, not because of talent, but because he learned to grasp tools in chaos. At this moment, the system flashed again, Yuechan's second signal. The voice was soft but more urgent, Chengze, don't go straight to the core of the track. There are ruins at the heart of the track at 5 degrees, and the key to the source of the signal is hidden there. Shahan's tracker is monitoring, don't let him follow. The prophecy is true, the quantum legacy of ancient civilizations will awaken destruction, quickly. Along with the coordinates, a hidden quantum blind spot points to the remains of an ancient structure on the edge of the meteorite belt. Chengze hesitated for half a second, Lian, she's here again. This deviation is risky and the ranking will drop, but... Go! This clue is too crucial. I will track it simultaneously. Lian said decisively, I have analyzed it and found that her encryption is the same as that of the Alliance. She is definitely not an enemy. Be careful, there may be traps in the ruins' energy field. Chengze nodded, turned the joystick, and the thunder yawed quietly, slid out of the main track, and dived into the shadow area of the meteorite belt. Shahan's shadow was far away in front of him, and he didn't notice it, maybe his tracker was interfered by Yuechan's signal. The ruins emerged like a ghost, a half-ruined ring-shaped structure with glowing runes etched on its surface, and the surrounding quantum fields twisted like living veins. The thunder approached, the scanner buzzed, and Chengze's palms became sweaty. This thing, looks like it crawled out of a history book. Yuechan, where are you? He whispered, pressed the manual quantum interface, learned the skill of Lian, and injected detection waves. The structure responded, a beam of light shot into the hull, and images appeared on the screen, fragments of prophecies from ancient alien civilizations, giant structures awakening, quantum networks crumbling like spider webs, and galaxies plunged into darkness. There is also a line of text: the source is at the end of the race, and the conspirators have infiltrated the alliance. Lian, did you see it? This is a preliminary clue, and the prophecy points to the end of the race. There might be a ghost over there in Guohua. Chengze's voice was low, and his heart suddenly changed. My parents' cargo ship crashed due to a quantum fault. I thought it was an accident. Now, I have to protect more people. Growth is like a tide, diluting the pure dream of championship. He quickly downloaded the data, and the thunderbolt backed away to avoid the aftermath of a wave of energy. Done, let's go back to the track. Shahan, don't even think about ditching me. When returning to the main track, the end of the meteorite belt was approaching. Chengze's ranking jumped to second place. Shahan took the lead, but the gap narrowed. Guo's commentary sounded: Chengze's thunder miraculously catches up, the king's moment of the meteorite belt. But be careful, the black hole area in the third stage is more dangerous. The tone was still fair, but it sent shivers down Chengze's spine. The hidden clues were like a test. Lian's voice cut in: the data is confirmed, the crisis is intensifying. The prophecy runes match the lost records on the edge of the galaxy. This is no joke. Chengze, we have to join forces with Yuechan to dig out the source. The thunder's engines roared as it rushed out of the meteorite belt, and the starry sky spread out in front of it. But the pulses of the signal became more frequent, rushing like a heartbeat. The shadow of the crisis lengthened, and the turning point of the track was faintly approaching. The particle tail flame of the thunder pulled out a blue arc in the starry sky. The debris rain in the meteorite belt gradually became sparse, and the vision suddenly became clear. The third stage, the twisted zone on the edge of the black hole. Space seems to be wrinkled by invisible hands, starlight bends into strange rings outside the event horizon, and the gravity well is bottomless, swallowing everything that comes close. Chengze's hands clenched the joystick, the gravity alarm flashed on the instrument panel, and the engine output was pushed to 95%. Lian, the gravitational gradient in this black hole area is much worse than the simulation. It feels like the ship is being pulled into a quagmire. He whispered, his eyes locked on Jahan's shadow in front of him. The ship was gliding like a ghost, with only half a minute of lead left. Don't panic, the data shows that your thunder gravity balancer can still hold up. Lian's voice came from the communicator, mixed with the rhythm of keyboard tapping. I just upgraded your quantum firewall, and now it can automatically filter out external interference. That guy Jahan's, I marked all the bands and bounced back when there was any movement. Remember, engine overload is a trump card, but don't burn it out. I don't want to repair the boat midway. His tone was like a big brother repairing a car on the street, always with a bit of earthy humor from an edge star, which made Chengze grin. The public channel suddenly buzzed, and Jahan's sneer came in: boy, the meteorite brought you good luck, but the edge of the black hole is not that fun. Your homemade ship will be torn into pieces as soon as it gets close to the event horizon. The shadow's hull flashed slightly, and a strengthened interference pulse was emitted from the rear. This time it was not a simple distortion of the meteorite, but a quantum wave directed at the gravitational field, trying to amplify the pulling force of the black hole and make the pursuer's engine lose control. Chengze's screen instantly became garbled, the thunder's hull tilted, and the gravity alarm screamed. Damn! This dirty trick is coming again, Lian, the firewall will resist it. In Lian's base, the screen flashed data like a storm, and his fingers flew as accurately as playing the guqin. Withstand it. This wave is high-end goods, embedded with Alliance encryption, but I cracked the skin. Look at me, inject the feedback loop, your shield will now turn his interference into your accelerator. After saying this, the thunder's engine roared, the quantum firewall unfolded like a shield, and the blue light grid wrapped the hull, counterattacking Jahan's pulse. The shadow trembled in front, and Jahan's voice was filled with anger for the first time. What the hell? Is your engineer a hacker? Humph, don't be complacent, I still have a trick. Lian laughed from behind. Hacker? Dude, I'm just a ship repairman from Edge Planet, specializing in treating problems on noble ships like yours. Chengze, push the engine to 110%, overload mode, bite him. Chengze took a deep breath and manually switched the overload switch. The Thunder's engine roared like a wild beast, the particle flow turned into violent purple flames, and the speed exploded to 1.02 the speed of light. The ship's hull slid along the edge of the gravity well, as dangerous as stepping on a tightrope. A curved ring of starlight brushed the nose of the ship, and the heat wave made the shield red. This feels like the racing stories my dad told when I was a kid. The night market track on EdgeStar is not as exciting. He shouted into the communicator, and a brief flash occurred in his mind. In the past, he only raced for the championship, but now, he has to rush for the prophecy and protect the quantum network, otherwise all the cargo ships on EdgeStar will be disconnected. He was no longer a hot-blooded boy fighting alone, but began to think about the team. Lian's support and Yuechan's clues were all connected like a puzzle. At this moment, the private channel lit up, and Yuechan's voice sounded again, this time clearer and with a hint of exhaustion. Chengze, I am Yuechan, a quantum communication expert, affiliated with the Galaxy Edge Research Station. Don't ask how to contact you, I have a backdoor channel. Listen, that ancient civilization is not a legend. Their quantum legacy is an awakening device hidden in the black hole ruins at the end of the track. Once awakened, the virus will be released. Such signals paralyzed the entire galactic network, trade was halted, alliances collapsed, and even interstellar wars occurred. My team discovered this, but was silenced. The signal you received was a fragment of their request for help. Her tone was like the night wind, gentle yet urgent, revealing part of her identity, which made Chengze less suspicious. Yuechan, why are you helping me? Is the competition fair? Guo's commentator always felt like he was testing. Chengze asked while dodging a wave of gravitational vortices. The joystick turned, and the Thunder overtook the car close to the edge of the horizon. Shahan's shadow magnified in the field of vision. He began to question that this event was not just a speed show, but there was something behind it. Guo's smile was like a mask, prophesying to the finish line. Was the Alliance hiding something? Yuechan's response was intermittent, the signal trembling under the interference of the black hole. Justice? Ha, the track has been manipulated. The Cabal has infiltrated the organizers, and they want to use the Awakener to control the quantum network and become the dictatorial tool of the galaxy. Guo was a chess piece. Look at the coordinates I gave you. 3 degrees off the main road, there's a track control node there, and I have implanted the backdoor data. If you crack it, you can confirm. The coordinates flashed, a hidden quantum node, floating behind the disguised meteorite on the edge of the black hole. Chengze hesitated for a moment. Lian, do you hear me? This is evidence, we have to try. Shahan is watching, and I feel his tracker is getting hot again. Lian's voice was excited, I heard it. I confirm that Yuechan's top-level encryption is non-toxic. Chengze, you take the initiative to decipher the signal fragments, and I will give you remote assistance. Remember, starting from the runes downloaded from the ruins, inputting the frequency of the overloaded engine will produce resonance like the street hacking game of EdgeStar, solving it while running. Chengze nodded, distracted in the high-speed chase, and quickly operated the sub-panel with his fingers. The Thunder's engine hummed overload, the quantum system connected with the signal fragments, and the runes emerged like a puzzle. The ancient text was decoded into an image, the symbol of the Cabal, a twisted quantum ring marking multiple control points on the track, which had been implanted with a virus. The evidence is conclusive that the track is not a natural design, but a trap that leads players closer to the awakening device. Damn it, this group, they used the competition as a cover. Chengze growled, growing like a fire, turning from personal glory to the overall situation. What is a championship? We have to join forces with Lian and Yuechan to dismantle this conspiracy and protect the network of the Milky Way. Like our parents' cargo ship, it cannot be disconnected again. He shouted, Yuechan, the data is passed to you. Lian, the firewall expanded the range, and we pushed back their control wave. Yuechan responded, well done, Chengze. This is a turning point. You are no longer a newcomer in the field, but a guardian. Be careful, Shahan's ambitions are getting bigger. He is not a pure competitor. I detected that his ship has a group mark. Shahan's voice suddenly cut into the private channel, chatting privately for the first time, and his tone was as gloomy as a black hole. Boy, don't mind your own business. Those signals are noise, focus on flying on your track. Otherwise, I will prevent you from leaving this area forever. His shadow turned sharply, releasing a disguised quantum torpedo, not a pulse allowed by the competition, but a hindering bomb with a tracking virus, heading straight for the thunder. Chengze's heartbeat quickened. Shahan, are you from the group? Ha, you are very ambitious. Do you want to monopolize control? He jerked the controls, the thunder skidded sideways, the torpedo grazed the stern, and the aftermath of the explosion cracked the shield. Shut up. The championship is mine, and so is the galaxy. Shahan snorted, and the shadow accelerated, trying to block the deviation from the route. The two ships chased each other at the edge of the horizon, and the gravity pulled the whole like fallen leaves in a strong wind. Lian shouted urgently, Chengze, the torpedo virus has entered. The firewall blocked 80%, but the engine heat soared yaw back to the main road. Don't fight hard. Yuechan added, his ship has a backdoor, I will interfere with the tracking, but you have to get rid of it. The evidence has been downloaded and sent to the backup of the marginal alliance. Chengze gritted his teeth, opened the overload engine at full speed, and the thunderbolt sprang out like an arrow. The decoded signal fragments turned into antivirus codes and bounced back to Shahan's ship. The shadow flickered, temporarily losing control, but Shahan roared, you will regret it. A small conflict broke out in the middle, torpedo fragments swept across the side of the thunder, the shield collapsed, the hull smoked, and the engine output dropped to 85%. Chengze gasped, Lian, it was damaged, but the evidence is available. We have to repair the ship and continue chasing the source. Shahan's shadow distanced itself. In the shadow of the black hole, the crisis intensified like a whirlpool, and the secrets of the track were peeled away layer by layer. The thunder's engines gradually died down, and the ship's hull trembled and slid out of the track in the gravitational aftermath of the black hole's edge. The end light of the third stage flashed. Chengze let go of the joystick, and beads of sweat fell from his forehead, reflecting the red light of the dashboard. Lian, we finally made it through. The shield was cracked, the engine heat was still dropping, and that bastard Shahan's torpedo was really hard. He gasped, his eyes scanning the rear-view screen. The shadow had turned into a purpled in the distance, and he was ahead for a full minute. Hold on, buddy. The midfield repair station is just ahead, in the zero-gravity area. I will remotely control your ship to dock. Lian's voice came from the communicator with a relieved smile. The antivirus code you just created was beautiful. Shahan's ship will need at least half an hour to be repaired. Come in quickly, I will personally go into battle to weld your engine. Edge Star's welding gun is not a simple one. Chengze nodded, and the thunder slowly aligned itself with the magnetic track of the repair station. The hull was gently pulled into a huge ring structure, surrounded by flashing mechanical arms and the busy figures of engineers. The intermission of the galaxy competition is never a pure moment of respite, it is a hotbed of intelligence warfare. While repairing the ship, the players secretly exchange glances and plan the next stage's dirty tricks. In the maintenance station, the air was filled with the smell of burnt metal and plasma. Chengze opened the hatch and stepped onto the floating platform. Lian was already waiting there, holding a toolbox in his hand and his face stained with oil, like a veteran car repairman in the Edge Star night market. Come on, don't stand there. I saw the crack in the stern. Sit here and chat while drinking an energy drink. Lian patted him on the shoulder, and the two squeezed into a temporary work cabin. The thunder was lifted by a mechanical arm, and the surrounding screens showed the repair progress. Chengze took a bottle of blue drink and swallowed it, feeling heat flowing into his limbs. Lian, that prophecy, the awakening device Yuechan talked about sounds like a science fiction movie, but the evidence is overwhelming. If the ancient civilization's virus signal really paralyzes the quantum network, all trade lines in the galaxy will be cut off, and the cargo ships on the Edge Star will be floating without fuel. Lian squatted next to the engine, the laser welding gun sizzling. He raised his head and his eyes became serious. Yes, I just analyzed the rune data you sent. The quantum ring logo was not drawn casually, it was the group's internal encryption, embedded in the track control points. They used the competition as a cover to lure players close to the black hole ruins and activate that thing. Imagine who is in charge of the quantum network being controlled. Whoever holds the signal is the boss of galaxy. There is a mark on Jahan's ship. He is definitely a mole. Lian's tone was like gossiping at a street tea stall, but he had the vigilance of an edge star. We have to be careful. The explanations of that guy from Guohua are always a bit probing, and he might be their pawn. Chengze leaned against the bulkhead. The chase at the edge of the black hole flashed through his mind, and his heart sank briefly. Before, he only wanted to win the championship and prove the power of the self-made ship, but now he has to shoulder the overall situation, like his parents guarding the freight line. He shook his head and moved closer to Lian's tablet. Teach me some quantum decoding. I have memorized the coordinates of Yuechan, but there are nodes in the next section of the track, so I have to do it myself. I can't always rely on you for remote assistance, in case the signal is interrupted. Lian grinned and put the tablet was handed over. Good boy, have you grown up? From a hot-blooded racing driver to an agent. Come on, let's start from the basics. Quantum runes are like puzzle pieces. Input the engine frequency to create resonance. Look here, the simulator is turned on. You try to decipher the prophetic signal. The two of them leaned against each other. Chengze's fingers slid on the screen, and Lian pointed aside. Yes, adjust the frequency to the harmonic of 1.02 the speed of light. The runes will light up. Ha, solved. This prophecy said that the awakening device is hidden in the ruins of the terminal, and after awakening, it will release the net-eating virus and swallow up all quantum communications. The group wants to use it to build a dictatorship network to control trade and military, and the entire galaxy will listen to it. There's... Chengze's eyes lit up. The decoding process was like solving a street puzzle, simple but exciting. Lian, this skill is awesome. I feel like I can track the source of the signal on my own. I am no longer a fool who rushes blindly. I have to be smarter and break their game while playing. Lian patted him on the back. Brother, this is the right way. People from the fringe never rely on luck, we use our brains to win. Suddenly, the private channel rang softly, and Yuechan's voice cut in like a ghost, with layers of encryption. Chengze, Lian, I'm Yuechan. Congratulations on surviving the black hole zone. I've monitored your decoding progress. Listen, I have a map of the group's hidden base, located outside the wormhole jungle in the 4th stage, a fortress disguised as an abandoned satellite. They store virus codes there and prepare to inject the Awakener at the end of the game. A star map appeared on the screen, with red dots marking the location of the base, and lines snaking toward the track deviation point. Chengze came closer. Yuechan, where did this map come from? Is the risk high? Yuechan's tone was soft but urgent. My research station was blocked, and I stole their quantum backdoor. If I go to the base, I can download the complete virus blueprint, proving Guohua's involvement. But be careful, Jahan has noticed it. He just contacted Guohua. I intercepted the fragment. Lian frowned. Intercepted? Broadcast quickly. Yuechan transmitted the audio, and Jahan's voice was as low as a shadow. Guohua, the race is going smoothly, the kid bites too hard, and the risk of signal exposure is high. You have to adjust the endpoint control to ensure that the shadow triggers the ruins first. My torpedo didn't kill him, but the virus in the base, the code is ready, and as soon as it is activated, the galaxy network will be ours. Guohua's response was hidden. Jahan, don't worry. The alliance is fair on the surface, and I will handle the explanation and guide the public's attention. The group's plan is seamless, the championship is a cover, and control is king. The audio was cut off, and there was a moment of silence in the cabin. Chengze clenched his fists. Damn it, Guohua is indeed the mole. They used the event to control the quantum network, and Jahan was the thug. Yuechan, thank you, this map is the key. After halftime, we went straight to the 4th stage. Yuechan sighed. Chengze, you are growing up, from pursuing dreams on the field to protecting the universe. Remember, there are traps in the wormhole area, and the group planted false signals. Lian, upgrade his decoding module, and I will give you the backdoor code. Lian nodded and quickly typed on the keyboard, Roger. The engine has been upgraded, and a new quantum firewall has been injected, which can filter the time and space distortion of the wormhole. Chengze, prepare to restart the fourth stage, the wormhole jungle, a melee of speed and adventure. After the repair was completed, the Thunder's engine hummed and revived, the blue flames became brighter, and the output was pushed to 120%. The midfield alarm sounded, and the players filed out of the station. Chengze sat back in the cockpit, holding the joystick tightly. Lian, Yuechan, let's go. Shahan wants to play control? I'll overtake him and demolish the base at the same time. The stage restarted, the starting lights flashed, and the Thunderbolt took off like an arrow and rushed into the wormhole jungle, a twisted maze of time and space. The wormholes spread like colorful vortexes, swallowing starlight, and the space folded into layers of phantoms. Shahan's shadow took the lead, emitting a decoy pulse from the stern, trying to lure the pursuers into a fake wormhole. Boy, are you quick to repair midfield? Come on, this jungle will eat your homemade goods. Shahan's taunt echoed in the public channel, and the shadow slipped into a green wormhole and disappeared in an instant, widening the lead. Chengze sneered, just chase, but use your brain. He activated the new engine, turned on the overdrive mode, and reached a speed of 1.05 light speeds. The ship's hull slid on the edge of the wormhole, and Yuechan's map was superimposed on the HUD, marking the true and false paths. Lian, the firewall withstood the distortion. Lian responded, withstood it. Shahan's trap was detected, the green hole is fake, with a virus network embedded in it. If you enter, you will lose control. Chengze's fingers were flying, and the decoding module was running, scanning the vortex ahead. Unlocked. The blue hole is the exit, accelerate in a straight line. The Thunder turned sharply and rushed into the blue wormhole. Time and space were distorted like water waves, the hull elongated and contracted, and the stars reversed in the field of vision. The sense of adventure was like the night soaring of the edge star, stimulating the heartbeat. The shadow reappeared in front, and Shahan noticed, what? How did you get rid of the trap? He released the quantum net and tried to block the exit. An invisible force field opened like a spider's silk. Chengze shouted, Lian, support. Lian's voice was excited, here it comes. Inject the anti-network code, and your engine resonance will tear it apart, push it to the limit. The particle flames of the Thunder exploded, and the quantum decoding was synchronized with the engine frequency. The force field shattered like glass, and the fragments swept across the shadow. Shahan's hull shook, and the speed dropped. Damn it, your engineer did something wrong again. Shahan roared angrily and tried to overtake, but Chengze had already bit his tail and reversed the car at the exit of the wormhole. The blue arc crossed and he was half a minute ahead. Ha, Shahan, your virus network doesn't work. Chengze shouted into the communicator, and the blood of growth surged in his heart, from a simple speed maniac to a warrior who can understand the conspiracy. Yuechan's private channel sounded, well done, Chengze. The scan just now confirmed the clues of the base. The group's virus code is specifically targeted at the core of the quantum network, with the intention of rewriting the communication protocol and allowing them to control all data flows. Trade and alliance orders are all in the palm of your hand. Chengze gritted his teeth, understood. Lian, we will speed up the investigation and go straight to the base. Shahan, the game is over. At the end of the wormhole jungle, the Thunder pulled away, and the camouflaged satellite of the base faintly appeared in front of the track. Crisis and racing were intertwined. Chengze's determination roared like an engine, and the flames of investigation grew stronger and stronger. The Thunder rushed out from the exit of the blue wormhole, ripples of time and space were still rippling around the ship, and stars scattered like broken diamonds. Chengze wiped the sweat from his forehead and locked his eyes on the track projection on the HUD. In front of him was the starting mark of the fifth stage, the multi-galaxy fog area, a gray fog composed of quantum dust and abandoned satellite debris. The field of view was reduced to a few hundred meters. High-speed travel relied entirely on intuition and instruments. Jahan's shadow was approaching faintly from behind. The quantum network shattered just now and it lost some advantage, but the guy's engine roared like a ghost and he would never let go easily. Lian, the fog zone has entered. Turn the scan to the maximum. Jahan bites hard. I feel like he is trying to play tricks. Chengze said to the communicator, tapping the joystick with his fingers to adjust the thunder's inertial reducers so that the hull could glide like a fish in the fog. Got it, buddy. The quantum dust in the fog will interfere with the radar. I have switched to your engine frequency sensing mode like the foggy racing on the edge star, just rely on feel. Lian's voice came from the far end of the maintenance station, with a hint of excitement. He was monitoring the data stream. The base satellite is marked on the map. 10 degrees off the track, but don't worry, go through the fog area first. I've implanted Yuechan's backdoor code, and I can scan the virus blueprint at any time. Chengze nodded, and his mind flashed. In the past, he would just rely on speed to rush, but now he has learned to calculate the path, and the feeling of growth is like the thrust of an upgraded engine, which is steady. The fog wrapped around the hull like cotton wool, and the red dot on the instrument panel flashed, showing the group of wreckage ahead. He instinctively dodged, and the thunder skidded sideways to avoid a piece of floating metal. The speed was maintained at 1.03 light speeds, and the lead was extended to 40 seconds. The public channel suddenly exploded, and Jahan's laughter was as harsh as scraping iron. Boy, you are welcome in the fog zone. The homemade ship is a target here. Let's see how I can make you lose your way. As soon as he finished speaking, Shadow's signal came in like a tide, and a wave of electronic warfare pulses swept across. The HUD of the Thunder was instantly blurred, and false targets popped up like will-o'-the-wisps. A dozen false paths were superimposed on the real track, making the field of view even more chaotic. Chengze frowned. Damn it, electronic interference. Lian, he activated it, and the radar was completely useless. The hull of the ship trembled slightly, the quantum dust was stirred by the pulse, and the phantom wreckage faintly appeared in the fog, approaching as if it had come alive. He pulled up intuitively, avoiding a cloud of illusions, but his heartbeat accelerated. This foggy area was already a test of skill, and now it was more like a blind man touching an elephant. Don't panic, I'm here. Lian yelled. The sound of keyboard tapping was like raindrops. Inject the anti-electronic code, and your firewall upgrade will activate engine resonance mode, filtering false signals. Push to 1.05. The dust in the fog will amplify your frequency induction. Like a street fog battle, use your blood to fight. Data streams poured in, the Thunder's shields unfolded layer by layer, and the blue light net intercepted the pulses like a fishing net. The false targets gradually faded away, and the real track reappeared. Chengze breathed a sigh of relief and tightened his grip on the pole. Lian, you are so awesome. It feels like the fog has become thinner, and I can see the curve ahead. He accelerated and slid in. The flame tail of the boat swept away the dust, guided by intuition like an experienced driver, and dodged a series of wreckage, speed increasing instead of decreasing. John's curse came from the channel. What? Your engineer ruined my good deeds again. Boy, wait for the electronic torpedo, the fog will explode to ensure you can't find Bay. At this moment, the private virtual communication window popped up, and a holographic image emerged. Yuechan's face was as clear as a real person. She was wearing a quantum research robe, with a flashing data wall in the background, and her eyes were tired but determined. Chengze, Lian, I'll connect the line myself. The signal in the foggy area is weak, but my virtual projection can penetrate. Listen, I'm not just a liaison, I have contact with that ancient alien civilization. Her voice was like a beacon in the fog, guiding Chengze's attention. In the image, she tapped her finger, and a quantum rune appeared. 10 years ago, my research station intercepted their prophetic signal. It was not a virus, but a warning. The awakening of civilization would release the net byte, but they left a countercode. I stole part of the group's data in order to guide racers like you closer to the source, the base satellite where the key to the awakening device is hidden. Chengze's eyes lit up, and he asked while dodging the wreckage in the fog, Yuechan, how did you contact them? What's the risk? We are being chased by Jahan, and electronic warfare cannot withstand it for long. Yuachan's image trembled slightly, and the fog area interference caused the projection to flicker. My family is a quantum pioneer, inherited an old communicator, and can hear the whispers of civilization. They predicted that the event is the key, and the group wants to distort it. Awaken civilization for your own use, control the quantum network of the galaxy, trade is interrupted, alliances are paralyzed, and interstellar travel becomes a prison. I will adjust your coordinates, deviate 5 degrees, and go straight to the edge of the base. Lian, synchronize my counter code to his decoding module. Lian responded quickly, received. Module upgrade, Chengze, try to crack enter frequency 1.07, the runes will unlock part of the code. Chengze's fingers were flying, one side of the joystick was used to dodge, and the other side was activating the module. The ship swayed in the fog, but he steadied his breathing and recalled Lian's instructions in his mind. Runes were like puzzle pieces, resonant engine frequencies. The screen lights up, a code is unlocked, and data floods in. Understood. Yuachan, this is Guo's communication record. He is not only the mole, but also the second in command of the group. The record shows that they plan to inject the virus at the match point, awaken the civilization, and use the awakener to rewrite the quantum protocol so that all communications in the galaxy listen to them. Guo controls the endpoint ruins. Jahan is responsible for clearing obstacles, like us. His voice turned from shock to determination, and his heart sank briefly. From a young man who was passionate about chasing speed, to now he has to lead this battle and shoulder the fate of the galaxy. Just like his parents guarding the cargo line, he must use strategy instead of brute force. Yes, the evidence is all there. Yuachan nodded, and an encrypted picture was transmitted in the video. Guo's plan is twofold: the event attracts energy, and the base stores viruses. They want to control the awakening civilization and build a dictatorship network. The Milky Way becomes their chessboard. Chengze, you are growing, from a player to a leader. Now, coordinate us, speak forcefully, strengthen a shield. I will pass on the antivirus blueprint. You are responsible to part from the path and get close to the source, but don't lose the lead on the track. Chengze took a deep breath, understood. Lian, the shield withstands the electronic warfare. I push the overload. Yuachan, I will download your blueprint, and after proving Guo, we will attack the base. Jahan wants to play? Let's fight against the enemy. Lian laughed, iron triangle. Strengthen the shield, inject the blueprint. Chengze, Wu Wei is approaching, speed up. Jahan's electronic torpedo finally struck. 3 invisible pulses exploded in the fog, and the energy wave came like a fog dragon. The Thunder's shield flashed, and Lian's countermeasure code intercepted it in time. The debris swept across the hull, but only sparks were produced. Ha! It blew up! Chengze shouted, his intuition guiding him to pull up, shake off the aftermath, and reach the limit of speed. Yuachan added before the image faded, be careful at the climax, the group has an ambush. The source is close, hold on. At the end of the foggy area, the field of vision gradually opened. The wreckage was sparse, and the clear starry sky loomed in front of the track, but Jahan's shadow followed him like a shadow. The roar of the engine was approaching, the aftermath of electronic warfare was still buzzing, and the crisis was entangled like mist. Chengze gritted his teeth. There were only 20 seconds left in the lead. The red dot of the base satellite flashed on the HUD. He shouted, Lian, Yuachan, prepare to deviate, the chase has just started to heat up. The ship turned and accelerated explosively to open the distance, but he heard Jahan's low roar from behind, boy, you can't escape. The shadow of the climax at the midpoint was quietly approaching. The Thunder emerged from the tail end of the fog area, its hull still carrying the afterglow of quantum dust. The starry sky suddenly opened up, and the energy storm of the 6th stage ahead was churning like a furious blue behemoth. The core of the storm is the magnetic field turbulence at the edge of the galaxy, which distorts light and swallows signals. Racers must shuttle through this plasma sea to maintain the speed of light without being torn apart. Chengze glanced at the HUD. There were only 15 seconds left in the lead. Jahan's shadow was approaching like a black shadow, and the low roar of the engine heralded the next wave of attacks. Lian, the storm has entered. The energy field readings are jumping like crazy. Can the Thunder's shields be able to withstand it? He shouted, his fingers tightened on the control stick, and the ship shook. The edge of the storm arced like a whip, and the instrument panel flashed a warning. You have to carry it, but don't go too far. Lian's voice burst out from the communicator, with the hum of the maintenance station in the background. He was staring at the data screen. Storms will amplify quantum interference, and your engine frequency must be locked to 0.98 for stability. Remember the trick in the fog zone, resonance filtering. I have prepared Yuachan's blueprint. The antivirus code can be injected at any time. Dude, Audio-Technica is online. Don't let that bastard Jahan succeed. Chengze nodded, raised the corner of his mouth, and briefly thought in his mind, in the past, he could only rely on speed in the face of the storm, but now he knows how to use strength. This growth is like the current in the storm, stimulating new sparks. The hull slid into the outer ring of the storm, blue plasma hit like raindrops, the shield buzzed, and the speed was maintained at 1.02 light speeds. He flashed through a magnetic field vortex, and his intuitive navigation made the Thunder twist like a dancer. Suddenly, the system alarm sounded harshly, the HUD went completely black, the engine output plummeted by 30%, and the quantum core overheated and flashed a red light. Damn, it collapsed. The electromagnetic pulse of the storm hit the core. Lian, the system is stuck. Chengze cursed, the ship trembled violently, and the turbulence in the storm was like a giant hand pulling. He could pull it up, but the inertial reducer failed, and the Thunder began to yaw and fell into the depths of the storm. In the field of vision, plasma waves surged, and Jahan's ridicule came from the public channel. Boy, the storm eats the boat. Your homemade stuff can't hold up, watch me overtake. The shadow signal approached, and the tail flames drew red marks in the storm. Hold on, I'm debugging remotely. Lian shouted, his voice quick but steady. Switch to manual mode, your quantum operation skills come into play. Input frequency resonance, 0.95 lock. During the blueprint transmission, the antivirus code will restart the core, like repairing a street motorcycle. Pull it back steadily. Chengze took a deep breath, and his fingers flew on the auxiliary panel. Amidst the roar of the storm, he recalled Yuachan's rune teaching, resonance engine and plasma field, and the data flow poured in like electric current. The ship's hull shook, the core restarted, the shield resurrected, and the blue light network intercepted the arc. It's done. Lian, you helped me from the far end, it feels like we are fighting separately like old partners. He accelerated and pulled away, yawing away, the speed picked up, and the lead was slightly increased to 10 seconds. Lian laughed, that's right. We have supported each other since the beginning of Edge Star racing. This crisis has proved that we are not only racers, but brothers. An iron triangle in the storm. No one can break it apart. Chengze felt warm in his heart. This bond was as solid as a shield, turning him from a lone wolf to a team leader. At this moment, Jahan's attack broke out like a storm, and a quantum torpedo shot out from the shadow and hit the tail of the Thunder. The torpedo was invisible in the plasma, with only a weak trajectory. Chengze flashed his instinct and slid sideways to avoid it. However, the aftermath swept across the hull, and the HUD captured a flashing symbol, a twisted quantum ring, the secret emblem of the group. Jahan, your torpedo is exposed. The group's logo flashed, and Guo's lackey was revealed. Chengze shouted to the public channel, while switching to the private line, Lian, record it, Yuachan, analyze this logo, confirm Guo's role. The shadow approached. Jahan's voice was filled with anger, shut up, kid. This is the rule of the competition. Your delusions cannot change my overtaking. But his attack was more fierce. 3 pulses were fired in succession, electric sparks exploded in the storm, the Thunderbolt's shield flashed, and Lian's anti-electronic code intercepted it in time. Yuachan's virtual projection bounced back again, and the storm interference made the image tremble. Her eyes were sharp. Chengze, I received the record. That quantum ring is the core symbol of the group, Guo's signature. He is not only the second in command, but also the mastermind of the virus plan. Analysis shows that he manipulated the energy field of the track, injected the Net Eater subroutine through the storm, and rewrote the galactic protocol after reviving the civilization. Jahan's torpedo carried the virus vector, exposing their linkage. Her voice was like a compass in the storm, firm. "Guide, you have grown up, from track intuition to applied signal knowledge. Now, the confrontation is upgraded. Deviate from the edge of the track and sneak into the base satellite to investigate. I transmit the invisible path to avoid surveillance, but be careful to pursue." Chengze nodded, understood. Strong words, maintain the shield. I pushed the stealth mode. This time I used signal knowledge to fight back, not recklessly. He adjusted the orbit. The Thunder quietly deviated by 5 degrees, and slipped to the edge of the track under the cover of the storm. The red dot of the base satellite was enlarged on the HUD, like a hidden cancer. At the beginning of the dive, the magnetic field at the edge of the storm was like a maze. Chengze manually operated the quantum system and injected Yuechan's anti-detection code. The halo of the ship's hull faded and blended into the plasma background. "Lian, the satellite is approaching, scanning is on." He whispered. The ship slid closer, a hidden docking port appeared, and the Thunderbolt touched it and locked it automatically. A flash occurred in his mind. In the past, he only chased the championship, but now he had to sneak into the enemy camp. This change was like a baptism of storm, making him more alert. Jumping out of the hatch, he put on the quantum mask, floated to the satellite shell, held the decoder and attached it to the interface. "Yuechan, the blueprint is in effect and is being cracked." The data stream poured in, and the screen displayed the virus blueprint. Guo's signature flashing, and the details of the plan were like a flood: injection at the match point, activation of the resuscitator, and the galaxy network becoming a cage. Suddenly, the alarm sounded, and a small-scale pursuit began. 2 group drones sprang out from the dark corners of the satellite, and laser webs rushed towards them like spider silk. "Damn, I found it." Chengze dodged, twisted in the air, and used signal knowledge. He activated the handheld decoder, resonated with the drone frequency, and injected antivirus code. The drone froze and the laser deflected. He took the opportunity to fight back and smashed the interface of one ship with one punch, and the other exploded into sparks. "Lian, support firepower. I use runes to interfere with their quantum locks." Lian responded quickly, "Injection. Your growth is so fierce, from dodging on the track to combat decoding, like a galaxy nova." The pursuit was resolved. Chengze stole the data chip, floated back to the Thunder, unlocked the hull, and accelerated away. With the data in hand, Guo's evidence is complete. The source of the virus and the recovery plan are all in it. On the way back to the track, the public channel exploded. Guo's voice was fair but gloomy. "Attention all racers, there are abnormal energy waves in the storm area, suspected of external interference. Stay on the track and don't deviate for safety. Security at the finish line has been strengthened." His words were like a covering of fog, trying to divert his attention. Jahan's laughter followed. "Did you hear that, kid? Guo warned you, don't be too clever." Chengze sneered. "Guo, your trick is exposed. We have evidence, and your virus dream is shattered." But he did not disclose it and conserved his strength. The Thunder returned to the track, speed soared, and the lead was restored to 20 seconds. At this moment, Jahan launched a full-scale attack. A shadow emerged from the depths of the storm, and 5 quantum nets spread out like a cage, blocking the curve ahead. Virus pulses surged in like a tide, the storm plasma amplified its power, and the Thunderbolt shield trembled. "Boy, have you had enough data stealing? Now, all-out war." Jahan roared. The ship approached, and the laser locked on. Chengze gritted his teeth. "Lian, Yuechan, on the iron triangle. Hold the shield, I'll counterattack with new data. The time to reveal the secret is near." The ship turned, and during the high-speed chase, the crisis escalated like a storm, and the web of conspiracy in the second half of the journey quietly tightened. The Thunder whirled violently in the blue plasma of the storm, and the quantum network rushed towards it like an invisible barbed wire. Jahan's shadow hull magnified on the HUD, and the tail flame pulled out a twisted red line. "Boy, see you online." Jahan's laughter burst out from the public channel. The virus pulse rushed into the system like a poisonous snake, the engine frequency jumped wildly, and the shield flashed a red edge warning. Chengze gritted his teeth and switched to manual mode with lightning speed. "Lian, inject antivirus code." "Yuachan, path optimization. I will use the storm electric field to rebound this network." The ship sank, and he intuitively pulled up. The thunder slid past the edge of the quantum network, and the plasma wave hit the hull, making a low muffled sound, like the squeak of tires on street racing. "The code is being injected. Stabilize the frequency." Lian's voice burst out from the communicator, with the hum of data streams in the background. "Jahan, this bastard, uses the group's quantum interference waves to paralyze the light speed lock. My upgraded version of the firewall is online. It's like putting an iron cap on the engine, blocking 80% of the pulses. Man, dodge around the corner and don't lose the lead." Yuachan's projection stabilized on the panel, and the storm interference made the image trembled slightly, but his eyes were as sharp as lasers. "Chengze, use the invisible path I transmitted 3 degrees to the left. There is a magnetic field gap in the core of the storm, which can reflect his net. Remember, your growth is not about rushing, but using signal knowledge to turn defense into offense." Chengze nodded, and his heart flashed. In the past, he could only forcefully negotiate corners, but now he calculates like a chess player. This change made him feel the power coming from the team. The ship twisted, and the thunder penetrated the gap in the magnetic field. The quantum network reflected back and hit the shadow's flank. Jahan cursed, "Damn it." His boat trembled violently, and his speed dropped for 5 seconds. Other racers on the public channel started talking about it. "What kind of operation is this? A rebound attack in the storm?" Chengze had no time to respond, and accelerated out of the storm area. The lights at the end of the 6th stage flashed in front, and the starry sky changed from blue chaos to the bright arm of the Milky Way. The HUD showed 15 seconds ahead. Jahan held on tight, but the virus pulse had weakened. Lian laughed, "Beautiful. The Iron Triangle won the first place. Now we go straight to the 7th stage, the core star field, the furious road after the energy storm. The speed is at its peak. The entrance to the 7th stage is like the mouth of a giant beast. The star jungle in the core star field spreads out in the field of vision. Countless light speed channels are intertwined into a network. The track curves and shuttles between the edges of black holes and supernova debris. This is the pinnacle of the galaxy competition. Racers have to dodge gravity wells accurately at 0.99 the speed of light, and the risk of engine overload is approaching criticality." The thunder slid into the track, the starlight filled the hull. Chengze pushed the throttle full. "Lian, the engine is locked at 1.05, the shield is fully opened. Jahan will catch up and prepare for the quantum showdown." Jahan's shadow emerged from behind, and the ship was approaching like a black arrow. His voice on the public channel was sneer, "Boy, the storm trick is over. In this stage, I will use interference waves to block your way. The championship is mine." The duel broke out instantly. Jahan launched quantum interference waves, which spread like invisible mist. The light speed channel on the track began to distort, the HUD data jumped, and the engine frequency was pulled like a saw. Other racers slowed down to avoid it, but Chengze did not retreat. "Yuachan, analyze the waveform." "Lian, debug the reverse frequency." Yuachan responded quickly. Interference is an upgraded version of the group, embedded with a virus subroutine, with the intention of paralyzing the entire stage network. My hidden spaceship is in place. Coordinate transmission. It has a certain amount the sub-relay can amplify your counterattack. Lian shouted, "Got it." The repeater is connected, the engine resonance mode is activated, like the motorcycle modification in his hometown, the overclocking gear is full. Chengze felt the hull of the ship heat up, the quantum core of the thunder buzzed, and the interference wave was reversed and bounced back to Jahan's direction. How could you?" Jahan's voice showed fear for the first time. The shadow ship shook, and the interference wave devoured itself, causing his speed to drop sharply. Chengze sneered, "John, your group's trick, our iron triangle is broken. This is not a competition, it is the battlefield of the galaxy." On the public channel, Guo's voice intervened, fair on the surface but mixed with nervousness. "Attention racers, there is abnormal interference in the core star field, suspected of external quantum noise. The track will be maintained, and the security check at the finish line will be strictly enforced for the sake of fairness." His words were like hidden needles, and Chengze knew full well that this was an attempt to manipulate the finish line and block their evidence from being uploaded. At this moment, Lian's excited voice sounded, "Chengze, big breakthrough. Using the data stolen from the satellite, I unlocked the complete prophecy of the mysterious quantum signal, not a fragment, but the full version." On the panel, rune-like text scrolled, "The ancient alien civilization has awakened and will release a net-devouring wave, destroying the entire lightspeed network, cutting off contact in the galaxy, and regressing civilization for thousands of years." Lian gasped. This prophecy points directly to Guo's plan. He uses the competition to inject the virus and awaken the civilization as a weapon. "Man, we can't just compete, we have to save the galaxy." Chengze's heart exploded like a star. From a hot-blooded boy chasing the championship to a hero leading a counterattack, this growth is like the superlight speed on the track, instantly widening the distance. "Lian, pass it on to Yuechan, our alliance is officially formed. Yuechan, join us, your hidden spaceship will serve as backup." Yuechan's projection became clear, and her voice was filled with rare warmth. "I'm here. The hidden spaceship Phantom has locked onto you, and quantum relay support is online." The three of them joined forces to fight back against the group's spies. "I detected 3 spy boats lurking on the edge of the track, carrying virus bombs with the intention of blowing them up. Lead the ship." Chengze nodded with a firm voice. "Okay, I will take the lead in cracking the code. First dodge Shahan, and then kill the spy. Lian, optimize the engine. Yuechan, block the path." At this moment, he transformed from a competitor, and the trust of the team was wrapped up like a shield, allowing him to lead freely. The thunder accelerated through the edge of the black hole. Shahan's interference wave was neutralized by the repeater, and Shadow was forced to slow down, slipping to third place. The spy boat appeared. 3 black shadows sprang out from the dark corners of the track, the laser net rushed like spider silk, and the trajectory of the virus bomb flashed on the HUD. "Target found!" Chengze shouted, and the ship slid sideways to avoid a bomb. The explosion's quantum sparks bloomed behind and the track trembled. Lian injected the anti-detection code, unlocking their frequency, Phantom spacecraft fire support. Yuechan's voice was synchronized. "The bomb code is being cracked. Use the prophecy runes to reverse it. Inject my code, they will self-destruct." Chengze manually operated the quantum panel, inputting the runes like running water, deflecting the trajectory of the bomb, heading straight towards the spy ship itself. One spy ship explodes into a fireball, and the other 2 try to fight back, but the Phantom ship emerges from stealth, quantum pulses sweep across, and the laser web disintegrates. "Well done." Lian laughed. "The iron triangle +1, Yuechan, you are a hidden master. It feels like a street league fighting in groups, monopolizing the group and other dirty tricks." Yuechan chuckled. "The strength of a team is greater than that of a lone wolf. Chengze, your leadership shows me hope. Hope from intuition on the track to deciphering the prophecy. This turning point is the turning point for Inha." Shahan roared from behind. "You join forces? Guo will not let it go." But his attack was powerless. Chengze opened the distance, and the lead was extended to 30 seconds in the middle of the stage. Guo's conspiracy came to light at this moment, and his voice on the public channel turned gloomy. "Competitors, the energy field of the finish line ruins has been adjusted, and the virus scan has been activated. Any abnormal signals will be regarded as cheating. This is a naked threat, intended to manipulate at the finish line, delete their evidence and activate the resuscitator." Chengze whispered to the private line. "Guo's tail is exposed. We counterattack with prophetic data." Lian uploads the backup to a neutral satellite. Yuechan blocks his quantum backdoor. The 3 of them collaborated like gears. Lian's debugging allowed the data to be encrypted and sent out, and Yuechan's code blocked Guo's control channel. The flame of a hero surged in Chengze's heart. he no longer fought alone, he led the alliance and grew into the guardian of the galaxy. In the second half of the stage, the speed competition reached its peak. The thunder soared in the light speed channel, the star's radiance stretched into a long line, and Jahan's obstruction turned into a powerless pursuit. The spy boat was completely destroyed, and Guo's public warning aroused the suspicion of other racers. Organizer, is this adjustment too weird? Chengze did not openly fight, conserving his strength. The boat's hull slid through the final bend, and the lights flashed at the end of the 7th stage. The HUD shows, first place, 25 seconds ahead, Jahan second, but the crisis is not over yet. At the moment when the terminal jump gate opened, a large-scale pursuit broke out. More than 10 group warships emerged from the dark side of the core star field, and quantum artillery fire poured down like rain, locking on the Thunder and the Phantom spacecraft. "Boy, you ruined the plan." Jahan's roar was mixed in the gunfire, and Guo's order was hidden behind it. Chengze raised the joystick, iron triangle, defensive formation. "This pursuit is the beginning of the subsequent crisis. We have to break out of the encirclement and go straight to the finish line." The ship shook, the gunfire grazed the shield, and the galaxy's network of catastrophe was completely opened. The Thunder's shields flashed red in the quantum fire, swaying like a street neon sign wetted by rain. Chengze jerked the joystick, causing the ship to roll over and hit a laser beam. The aftermath of the explosion distorted the starry sky in the rearview mirror into a whirlpool. "Lian, strengthen the shield." "Yuechan, the Phantom spaceship covers the left wing. These group battleships are not racers, they are killers." His voice echoed in the communicator, with an unprecedented calmness, and a flash in his heart. In the past, he would panic and speed up to escape, but now he arranges the formation like a veteran. This is the skill honed by the team. The shield is being reinforced, and energy crystals are injected into it, like adding bulletproof skin to a classic car. Lian's response was mixed with the hum of data flow coming from the rear base. There are 10 battleships, equipped with quantum locking cannons, specially designed to paralyze the light speed engine. "My scans show that their weakness is in the communication relay. Buddy, get over this wave. We go straight to the 8th stage. There are traces of the source of the signal in the Forgotten Nebula." Yuechan's projection flashed on the panel, a phantom. The spaceship has emerged from stealth, and the pulse beam has swept away a pursuer. "Chengze, I have cracked the frequency of some battleships. They are under the direct command of Guo. Listen, his plan is crazier than we thought. He is not just manipulating the competition, he is using the quantum network of the competition as a catalyst to awaken the ancient civilization. The prophesied net-eating wave is their weapon. After being injected with the virus, it can cause the entire galaxy's light speed system to collapse and civilization to return to the Stone Age." Her words exploded in the communicator like a bomb. Chengze's eyes narrowed. "Guo. That old fox appears to be fair, but is he doing this dirty trick behind his back? Yuechan, where's the evidence? We have to let Jahan hear it." The ship's hull shook, and another cannon fire passed by. The Thunder took advantage of the situation to jump, throwing away the 3 warships, and rushed into the jump gate at the edge of the core star field. The space is distorted like water waves, and the objects in front of you are stretched into long lines. When the field of vision stabilizes, the Forgotten Nebula of the 8th stage is already approaching. This nebula is like an ancient scar, filled with gray fog, with broken planetary fragments floating in it. The track winds through the forgotten space cemetery, and signal interference makes the HUD data intermittent. The other racers pulled away in front, but the shadow of the group followed like a ghost. "The evidence is in my hidden database," Yuechan continued, her voice quick but steady. Guo is the second in command of the group. He uses the ruined energy field at the end of the race to inject prophecy runes to forcefully awaken the alien civilization. Jahan is just a pawn, thinking that the championship can exchange for power, but he doesn't know that he will be swallowed up by the network wave. "I have hacked into his private channel and broadcast the truth now." Her projection flashed, and the signal rushed into the public channel like a virus. Guo's voice first tried to suppress it. "Attention racers, the Forgotten Nebula has natural interference, maintain the track dash," but Yuechan's revelation caught up. "Jahan, listen up. Guo's plan is to destroy the Milky Way. He uses your spaceship as a carrier to spread the virus and awaken civilization. You are not the champion, you are the victim. Changze's shadow ship sprang out from the nebula in fog, bringing 5 group fleets with it. The laser net blocked the track like a spider's thread. Shut up. You're in the way. His roar was filled with anger, but the tail end trembled slightly, as if he had been stabbed in a sore spot. Chengze spotted the gap, and the thunder accelerated into the core of the nebula. Debris hit the hole like raindrops, making a metallic sound. John, stop. Yuechan is right, we have the full version of the prophecy. Guo wants to cut off the connection with the galaxy, and you and I are screwed. Join us, or will you be cannon fodder? During the conversation, Chengze's fingers were flying, switching quantum panels, and using the magnetic mist of the nebula to hide his traces. This was not foolhardy, but strategic leverage. Lian laughed and added, "Yeah, Brother Jahan, don't be the group's doglegger. My weapon system is upgraded and online. The Thunder now has a quantum pulse cannon, which, combined with Yuechan's antivirus code, can counterattack their lock. Chengze, lock the leading flagship. It is a mini-boss and is equipped with a relay station module. Break it and signal the threat. It's only half as weak." In the communicator, Lian's beating sound was like a war drum. It's been upgraded, like a modified street racing car, with machine gun gears added, full firepower. Chengze felt the hull of the ship heat up, and the weapon panel lit up with a green light. Roger. Yuechan, the Phantom spacecraft is back. Lian, remote missile support. Our iron triangle will add 1 to outflank them. A melee broke out, and in the gray fog of the Forgotten Nebula, lasers and pulses intertwined into a network. Changze's shadow was the first to pounce, and the quantum torpedo shot out like a poisonous arrow. Chengze dodged intuitively, and the ship's hull slid among the debris, bouncing away with the gravity of the broken planet. "Boy, do you think the truth can sway me?" Changze's voice exploded from the channel, but Yuechan's broadcast had already spread, and chaotic shouts came from inside the flagship. "Sir, the virus has backfired." Guo's order. Changze cursed, "Damn, what's going on?" His attack was half a beat slow. Chengze seized the opportunity, pushed the engine to full speed, and the thunder rushed straight into the flank of the flagship. "John, wake up. We are not the enemy, Guo is." Chengze shouted, firing quantum pulses at the same time. The gunfire hit the flagship shield like blue lightning, and cracks spread like spider webs. Lian's missile followed up from the far side and accurately penetrated into the weak point. "I hit. Brother, your control is like dance steps, speed and strategy, invincible." Yuechan's Phantom spaceship appeared from the fog, sweeping the 2 group fleets with pulses, and the fragments exploded to illuminate the nebula. "Chengze, the flagship relay station is exposed. Inject the rune code and it will self-destruct." Chengze nodded and manually entered the prophecy runes. The pulse cannon merged with the virus and reversed, the flagship engine buzzed, and the internal alarm sounded. Changze's shadow tries to rescue him, and his laser locks on the thunder, but Chengze has grown into a comprehensive warrior and no longer relies solely on speed. He switched to manual quantum operation and used the nebula's magnetic field to reflect the laser light and bite it back into the shadow. "John, stop. See the truth. Guo used you to block the track just to cover up the awakening device." Changze's ship swayed, and his voice hesitated for the first time on the public channel. Where's the evidence?" Guo said, "This is for the order of the galaxy." Yuechan responded quickly, "I'll send you the data, a complete prediction." He lied to you, and the net wave will swallow up everything, including your dream of becoming a champion. Changze was silent for a moment. The attack paused, and the shadow slid sideways to avoid the flagship explosion. "Damn. I need time." This turning point was like a curve on a track. Chengze did not let up. The thunder sprinted at full speed and the pulse cannon hit the flagship relay station directly. The explosion exploded like a supernova, quantum fragments scattered in all directions, the signal interference weakened instantly, and the HUD data stabilized. The group fleet was in chaos. 3 ships were swept away by phantoms, and the rest retreated hastily into the edge of the nebula. The relay station is destroyed. Lian shouted excitedly, the signal threat has been reduced by 70%, and Guo's awakening plan has broken half of its legs. Brother, in this battle, you integrated speed, technology and strategy, and transformed from a hot-blooded boy to a Metroid warrior, so handsome. Yuechan's voice was filled with laughter. The team has a perfect tacit understanding. Jahan is shaken, he may turn to us. Chengze, your leadership makes hope shine. Chengze gasped and let go of the joystick, and the thunder slid out of the nebula. In front of him was the exit light of the 8th stage, and the ruins of the finish line were vaguely visible. But Jahan's shadow lingers behind, the group's remnant ships lurk like shadows, and the threat of Guo surges like an undercurrent. It's not over yet, Chengze whispered, the final battle is waiting for us. The Iron Triangle, accelerate, the fate of the galaxy is in the last fight. The hull buzzed, the track ahead was bright, and the rhythm of the crisis accelerated like a heartbeat. The Thunder's engine buzzed like a heartbeat, rushing out of the gray fog of the Forgotten Nebula, and the exit lights of the 8th stage flashed like a galactic welcome. Chengze glanced at the HUD, and the data stream showed that the 9th stage was approaching. This section of the track is the trump card of the light speed competition, called the Whirlpool Gate, a series of superlight distortion zones. The space is like being minced by a blender, and the spaceship will fall into nothingness forever if it is not careful. The other racers distanced themselves in front. Jahan's shadow ship was still lingering behind, like a wounded beast, and the group's remaining ships followed faintly. Lian, scan the entrance to the 9th stage to confirm the stability of the vortex. Yuechan, is Jahan's channel still connected? We have to pull him, otherwise Guo's claws will crush him first. Chengze's voice was as steady as a rock. It was no longer the blind passion before the game, but sharpened by the nebula melee. The scan is complete, buddy. The vortex magnetic field intensity is as high as level 9. It's like vendors huddled together in a Taipei night market. There is danger in the chaos. Lian responded from the rear base, typing on the keyboard with a smile on his face. The frequency of your Thunder engine has been adjusted to the optimal level. It can squeeze out 20% more thrust through the distortion of the vortex. I implanted the tracking code on Jahan's ship. He hesitated, but Guo's orders are still blasting his head. Yuechan's projection appeared on the panel, and the Phantom spacecraft was already invisible and sneaking forward to clear the way. His private channel is open, and I sent more evidence, the complete runes of the prophecy, showing that Guo's net-devouring wave will swallow the championship first. Chengze, convince him, let him see your growth, from a boy to a general, now is the key. The ship shook, and the Thunder jumped into the 9th stage. The space was instantly distorted, the surrounding stars stretched into long lines, and the vortex swallowed everything like a giant funnel. Chengze's fingers flew and manipulated, using the magnetic field to bounce to avoid a wave of space cracks. A brief monologue flashed in his heart. In the past, he only pursued speed and dreamed of the championship title. Now, he protects the team, and the fate of the galaxy is on his shoulders. This change is like a curve on the track, forcing him to face his ambition and responsibility. The public channel suddenly exploded, and Guo's voice sounded like thunder. It was no longer the hypocrisy of the event commentary, but a naked betrayal. Competitors, listen up. The light speed competition is over. Now is the beginning of the new order of the galaxy. I activate quantum control, and the ruins at the end will be injected with net-devouring waves. Ancient civilizations will wake up and the weak will become extinct. His laughter was distorted, accompanied by the scream of data flow. The quantum network of the entire track flashed red, the spacecraft HUD began to lose control, and the engine frequency was forcibly locked. Damn Guo, I'm openly betraying you. Chengze gritted his teeth. The shield of the Thunder was swaying in the whirlpool. He yanked the controls and shook off the laser lock of a group's remnant ship. Lian, paralyze his network. Yuechan, the Phantom ship cuts off the relay signal. We can't let the network-eating wave spread. Jahan's shadow ship sprang out from the edge of the whirlpool and headed straight for the Thunder. Quantum torpedoes came like raindrops. His voice roared in the channel, but it was cracked, Boy, you ruined my chance. Guo said this was for order, you are traitors. The hull of the ship passed by a torpedo, and the aftermath of the explosion intensified the vortex distortion. Chengze felt that the space was squeezing the thunder like a living thing, but he did not panic. He switched to manual quantum operation and used the vortex magnetic field to reflect the attack back to the shadow. John, stop. Order? Guo's order is to destroy the galaxy and let alien civilization swallow us all. Chengze shouted, his voice penetrated the hum of the whirlpool, as down-to-earth as an old friend trying to persuade him, think about your dream of becoming a champion. You have been practicing spaceships since you were a child, and your ambitions are as high as the sky. But now? As a gunman, the net-devouring wave will blow up your ship first. You and I are track brothers, not dogs of the group, join us. I will personally pass on the evidence to you, and see clearly the tricks of the old fox. The shadow ship swayed, Shahan's attack was delayed by half a beat, and the laser net grazed the side of the Thunder, sparks flying. Evidence, I have received the full version of the prophecy you mentioned. Guo lied to me, saying that the championship was exchanged for power, but the result was death. His voice turned from anger to deep, his ambition was stirred like a whirlpool, and there was a turning point in his hesitation. Lian's response was like a timely response, Brother Jahan, don't worry. My antivirus code has been online, paralyzing Guo's quantum control, like hacking into the nightclub speakers and cutting off his rhythm. The data stream surged through the communicator, and Lian was injected into the firewall remotely. The red light of the track network began to flicker, and several group fleet engines lost control and crashed into the edge of the vortex and shattered. Yuachan's phantom spaceship appeared from stealth, and the pulse beam swept the relay station. I blocked the back door of the terminal ruins, and the net-eating wave injection rate was reduced to 30%. Chengze, Jahan was shaken, use your words, pull him over, and our iron triangle becomes a 4-person team. Her voice was warm and urgent, like the glue of the team. The core of the vortex erupted, and the space cracks opened like the mouth of a giant beast. Chengze pushed the engine to full speed, and the Thunder rushed straight into Jahan. The two ships slid side by side, and quantum gunfire intertwined into a net. Jahan, listen. Guo activated the control because he is afraid that we will get close to the final ruins. There is the final code there, which I can crack, but I need your fire cover. You have good ambitions and can be used in the right place, not as a pawn, but as a hero to save the galaxy. Chengze stared at the panel, and his heart tightened. This is his culmination, from a dreamer to a guardian, convincing opponents like overtaking on a track, relying not only on speed, but on heart. Jahan was silent for a moment. The shadow ship suddenly turned around and locked the laser on the group's flagship. Boy, you win this round. My ambition was thwarted by Guo, but your words hit the target. Let's fuck him together with full firepower. His laughter was rough and relieved, the ship accelerated, and the quantum torpedo hit Guo's control ship directly, and the explosion illuminated the vortex like fireworks. Great, John. Now, outflank the ruins. Chengze responded excitedly, and the Thunder took advantage of the opportunity to jump across the gap, and the team had a tacit understanding. Lian laughed, brother, your leader is awesome. The antivirus code spread, 70% of the network was paralyzed, Guo's resuscitator was shaking like a drunk street gangster. Yuachan added, I will pass on the final rune blueprint, Chengze, enter the password prevents the injection. Jahan, your AI assistance helps to block the escape route. The 9th stage is approaching the end. The energy field of the ruins is like a blue halo, Guo's flagship is in the center, and the network attack wave is spreading like a virus cloud. Chengze's fingers were flying, and the runes on the panel were flashing. He used the resonance of the overloaded engine to inject the reverse code. Come on, one last fight, the prophecy says that the Guardian can reverse the fate. The moment the code was cracked, the energy field shook violently, the network-devouring wave collapsed, and the ancient civilization's awakening signal dissipated like a kite with a broken string. The main force of the group collapsed, fragments of the flagship explosion were scattered, and the remaining ships fled in panic. the track network returned to green light, and other racers slowed down in front. Guo's roar on the public channel was intermittently, "You ruined everything." But his control had failed. Jahan's shadow slid out of the whirlpool side by side with the thunder. "Boy, I'm on an equal footing with you in this final, but the Milky Way owes you a life." Chengze gasped and let go of the controls, looking ahead at the finish light. The race entered the final sprint, knowing that although the cosmic crisis was suppressed, Guo's shadow was still lurking in the darkness. The iron triangle +1, speed up, the decisive victory is imminent, our battle is endless. The hull of the ship hummed, the starry sky opened like a new chapter, and the rhythm beat like a drum. The thunder's tail flames were like the roar of the Milky Way, cutting through the aftermath of the 9th stage and rushing into the 10th stage, the finishing line, a killing place called Eternal Sprint. The space here is as straight as a blade, but full of quantum minefields. The wreckage of Guo's flagship is still rolling behind, and the debris is chasing the racer like a meteor shower. On the HUD, the finish beacon was clearly visible, with only 5 light points remaining, and the championship was within easy reach, but the alarms on the public channel were ringing like bombs. "Warning! The Galactic Alliance is an emergency, the track is blocked, all racers must slow down immediately." Guo's voice lost the manic laughter before and replaced it with a cold command. Behind him was the roar of the fleet's engines. At least 20 group battleships jumped out from the flanks, and laser nets blocked the track like spider silk, intending to catch them all. "Guo, you old guys still don't give up? Block the track? This is an open rebellion." Chengze roared, his fingers tightly clasping the joystick. The thunder snaked and dodged in the minefield, a quantum mine grazed the hull, and the shield flashed red. He glanced at the parallel shadow ship, and Jahan's voice came in from the channel, with a rough and decisive voice. "Boy, don't talk nonsense." The main force of his fleet rushed out from the back door of the ruins, and my AI scan detected 30 missiles targeting you. I blocked the left wing, you rushed to the center. The shadow ship turned sharply, and quantum torpedoes poured down like a torrential rain, blasting open the side of a group cruiser. The exploding fireball illuminated the track, and the debris scattered and forced back several laser beams. Lian's response was as urgent as a blast from the rear base, and the rhythm of typing on the keyboard was like blacksmithing in a night market. "Brother, I have locked the source of the fleet's quantum signal. Guo's terminal control tower is still running. Although the network wave has collapsed, the residual signal will detonate the energy field of the entire track like the Taipei MRT rush hour. It's like an explosion, it will blow us up. I'll inject the blockade code, give me 30 seconds, and paralyze his center." The data stream on the panel was rolling wildly, and Lian's virus penetrated the network like a ghost. The red light on the track began to pulse unsteadily, and several group warships' engines failed, and they crashed into the minefield and exploded into a sea of fire. Yuachan's projection trembled on the HUD, and the phantom spaceship cut into the right wing from stealth, and the pulse beam swept a wave of missiles. "Chengze, Guo's fleet has amplifiers of alien ruins. My neutralizer can suppress it, but it requires me to sacrifice some family secrets. The core of the prophecy rune, it's not an attack, it's a balance. I'm transmitting the last set of reversal frequencies. Your Thunderbolt engine must overload and resonate, otherwise the threat will come back to bite us." There was a rare hesitation in her voice, like an old friend confiding her concerns. Her figure in the projection was blurry, with a faint halo of interstellar antiquities. Chengze's heart tightened, and his inner monologue was like lightning. In the past, he only cared about speed, and the championship was the only one. Now, the fate of the team forced him to make a decision: sacrifice Yuachan's secret in exchange for the peace of the galaxy. This is the price of growth, like a curve on the track, turning around is salvation. Yuachan, pass it on. Your secret is worth fighting for. We, the Iron Triangle, no, the foursome, owe you a life. Chengze shouted, his voice as steady as a rock, and he pushed the engine to full speed. The thunder's buzz reached its limit, and it accelerated to the edge of light speed by taking advantage of the straightness of the track. Jahan responded with a laugh. The shadow ship escorted him closely, and the laser net reflected Guo's attack. "Ha, boy, your leadership is just like when I was young. Guo's flagship is in the center. I will torpedo the way, you go straight to the control tower, don't let that old thing have the last laugh. The two ships slid side by side, quantum cannon fire intertwined into a shield, forcing back a wave of group wreckage. Other racers on the track began to slow down and evade, and the public channel became a mess, with some people yelling and others asking for help. Guo's flagship is like a giant beast entrenched in front of the finish line, its energy field is like a blue vortex, and the remaining net-devouring wave has turned into black mist, trying to restart the alien's awakening. His image was projected on all channels, his face was ashen, and the ambition in his eyes was like broken glass. Chengze, do you think you will win by cracking the runes? The group's quantum network has been connected to the core of the ruins, and the awakening is irreversible. Players, join me, or you may be wiped out at extreme speed. But before he could finish his words, Lian's blockade codes poured in like a flood of viruses, and the lights of the control tower flashed. Shua collapsed, and the signal was intermittent. Lian, you engineering genius, the blockade was successful. The injection rate of the cyber wave has reached 0, and the alien threat has been interrupted, but the fleet is still there, and Guo's madness has no end. Lian gasped and laughed, it's so exciting, like hacking into a bank safe. Dude, now it's my turn to fight, Shahan's firepower is full, I will upgrade your shield remotely. The melee broke out like an interstellar storm, and Guo's fleet attacked in 3 directions, the left cruiser's laser rain, the middle flagship's missile lock, and the right wing's drone swarm swooped in like a hive. Chengze led the team, his voice like a war drum in the channel. Shahan, you attack the left wing, I will cross the middle. Yuechan, the Phantom sweeps the right wing drone. Lian, monitor the energy field, don't let the residual wave counterattack. The thunder rushed forward at top speed, the space stretched into a long line, Chengze's fingers flew to control, and Yuechan's reverse frequency overload engine was used, and the resonance wave shattered a missile wall like a tuning fork. He felt the hull of the ship trembling like a living thing, and a flash occurred in his heart. This decision was not a passion, but a sacrifice, giving up the shortcut to the championship, changing the way of survival for the team, turning a kid into a general. At this moment, Shahan's shadow ship pounced on the left like a wild wolf, and fired quantum torpedoes, blowing up the 2 cruisers. The debris was like a fireworks celebration. Boy, look at me. Guo, your second-in-command ambition has ruined the galaxy. I regretted it too late, but now make up for it, your fleet, blast me. His attack was fierce, and his regret turned into firepower. The AI assisted dodge like a ghost, forcing the left wing to collapse. Yuechan's Phantom ship shuttled on the right wing, pulsing the drones. The secret of the sacrifice made her neutralizer glow with golden light, suppressing the black fog. The secret has been passed on, the family's ancient artifacts have successfully resonated. The alien threat has been neutralized, and the ruin's energy field is stable. Chengze, cross the defense line, your growth convinces me. Her projection faded, and the Phantom ship flashed invisible, leaving a light path for the thunder. Guo's flagship was isolated and helpless, and the energy field began to collapse. His roar echoed in the channel, impossible. You bugs, destroyed my order. But the collapse of the group was like dominoes, the remaining ships fled in all directions, and the explosion of the control tower illuminated the terminal lighthouse. Chengze seized the opportunity, and the thunder crossed the middle line of defense at high speed. The laser net passed by, and the ship shook like a drunkard. But he stabilized the control and injected the final reversal code. The energy field receded like a tide, and the black mist dissipated. Shahan followed side by side, and Lian's shield reinforcement kept them safe. Yuechan's voice echoed warmly, the crisis is on the verge of being resolved. Guo is exposed, the broadcast of the Galaxy Alliance has been activated, and his conspiracy has been fully exposed. The lights at the finish line hit our faces, the track calmed down, other racers followed from behind, and the public channel erupted in cheers. Chengze let go of the controls, gasped and looked forward. Shahan filmed the channel and laughed, boy, we won this race, but your decision is the real champion. Lian shouted excitedly, brother, the engine is cooling down, the team it's okay. Yuechan, thank you for your sacrifice. Yuechan chuckled, it's worth it, Now, let's cross the line. The thunder accelerated, victory was in sight, the starry sky ahead was like a new life, the residual warmth of the battle was still there, but the outline of perfection was already taking shape. The thunder's engine was like a wild dragon's roar, tearing away the last trace of track resistance. The ship's hull shook, and it rushed through the shining halo of the finishing lighthouse. On the HUD, the championship timer was frozen at the edge of the galaxy record. The red light turned green, and the public channel erupted in cheers like night market fireworks. First. Homemade thunder, Chengze wins the championship. Galaxy lightspeed competition, history is rewritten. The fleet of spectators on both sides of the track surged like a nebula, and laser fireworks bloomed into a galactic celebration. The debris were still floating behind, but the haze of the crisis had dissipated. Chengze let go of the joystick, his palms as wet as the nervousness of a preliminary round. He looked out the window, where Jahan's shadow ships were gliding side by side, their tail flames intertwined into a victory gesture. Boy, congratulations. This championship is yours. Jahan's voice came from the channel, rough and mixed with rare tenderness, like an old man unloading his burden. I lost, but it was worth it. The wreckage of Guo's flagship is still rolling, and his quantum device has been exposed. My AI scanned that the last core is at the base of the lighthouse, and the energy pulse is unstable. If you don't mind, I will clear the way, and you can end this madness with your own hands. Chengze nodded, with a flash in his mind. In the past, he only pursued speed, and the championship was a lonely glory. Now, this moment of decision has turned him from a boy into a hero. The thunder turned and approached the giant structure of the terminal lighthouse. The Galactic Alliance's broadcast had switched to an emergency announcement. Guo's image shattered into static electricity, and his roar turned into an echo. You ruined everything. But no one paid attention. Jahan's quantum torpedo was accurately fired, blasting open the lighthouse shell, revealing a hidden quantum device, a group of blue crystals, pulsing like an alien heart, trying to restart the remnants of the net-devouring wave. Lian, scan and confirm. That is the final catalyst of the ruins. If you seal it, you can permanently cut off the awakening. Chengze shouted, his fingers flying and injecting Yuchan's reversal frequency. The thunder's engine buzzed overload, and the resonance wave locked the crystal like a tuning fork. Lian's response rushed in from the rear base, tapping the keyboard with a rhythm like temple gongs and drums. Brother, the frequency is synchronized. My virus has penetrated, give me 10 seconds, and paralyze the energy flow, just like eating the last skewer of grilled squid at the Taipei night market, clean and neat. The data stream rolled crazily, the blue light of the crystal began to tremble, and cracks spread like spider webs. Yuchan's projection reappeared, the phantom spacecraft cut in from the invisible, and the pulse beam assisted the blockade. Chengze, this is a key blow. The core of the alien prophecy is balance, not destruction. Your growth allows me to safely transmit the family's last guardian code. Her voice was as warm as old tea, and the figure in the projection was clear, with a faint halo of ancient artifacts. Chengze pushed the controls to full speed, and the thunder surged forward, its hull brushing the edge of the lighthouse and injecting the final yardage. The crystal burst into golden light for a moment, and then disintegrated into a harmless particle cloud. The energy field receded like a tide, and the quantum network of the galaxy was instantly clear. The Alliance's confirmation sounded on the public channel, the threat is over. The alien ruins are permanently sealed, and the galaxy is safe. Jahan's shadow ship was parked nearby. He switched to the private channel and said in a low voice, Chengze, I have to say I'm sorry. From the first time I overtook you on the track to being tricked into the group by that old guy Guo, I thought ambition was king, but in the end I almost ruined this starry sky. You kid, from passionate the rookie turned into a leader and taught me what true speed is, not chasing championships, but chasing responsibility. From now on, I will join the reform of the Galaxy Alliance and help restore the fairness of the competition. How about it, brother? His shadow appeared, the scars on his face were soft under the light, and his eyes were filled with regret. Chengze laughed and slapped the console. Jahan, thank you. Your firepower saved our lives, and now we are partners. The Alliance needs you, a veteran, so stop hiding it. When the two ships docked, Jahan's AI sent out a cheering signal, like a beer collision after a game. Lian's excited voice exploded from the channel, "Wow, buddy! Champion plus hero, Thunder's data is fully backed up, #1 on the wealth list. Yue-chan, your Guardian code is so amazing, I analyzed it, this is not an ordinary quantum, it is the genetic technology of alien Guardians. Couldn't you be their descendant?" Yue-chan's projection chuckled, and the phantom spaceship slowly appeared. Her figure turned from virtual to real, wearing an ancient galactic robe and a crystal pendant hanging around her waist. "Lian, you engineering genius, you guessed it right. I am a descendant of the Guardian civilization. My family has been hidden in the quantum network for generations, monitoring the awakening of the ruins. Guo's conspiracy forced me to show up, but your team gives me hope. Chengze, from receiving the first signal to sealing everything now, your growth is not about speed, but about heart, from dreaming of becoming famous to guarding the galaxy, this is the true meaning of prophecy." Her eyes were gentle, she stretched out her hand like an oath, and the halo in the projection was like stars. Chengze's heart felt warm, and his inner monologue was as short as a flash of thought. In the past, speed was escape, but now, it is a bridge to move forward. Glory and riches were coming, but responsibilities were as wide as the stars and he was ready to bear them. "Yue-chan, thank you for your guidance. Lian, Jahan, we, the Iron Four, will never be separated from the track to the universe. The Galactic Alliance's celebration is waiting, let's go have a drink, not synthetic wine, but real old Earth wine." The post-race celebration broke out in the giant square of the finishing planet. The flag of the Galactic Alliance fluttered like shooting stars, tens of thousands of racers and spectators gathered, and laser fireworks illuminated the night sky. Chengze stood on the podium, with a model of the homemade Thunderbolt shining in the center, and the championship trophy was as bright as quantum crystal. Guo's group has been arrested, and the conspiracy has been exposed. The League announced the reform of the competition. Jahan took the stage to give a speech with a sonorous voice. "The past champions are ambitions, the future is justice. I, Jahan, join this change and contribute to the future of the galaxy. Light Pilot opens the way." The audience applauded like thunder. Lian and Yue-chan winked at the side, and Lian whispered, "Brother, your heroic halo blinded me." Yue-chan, the descendant of the Guardian, sounds like a martial arts novel, haha. Yue-chan smiled and touched Chengze's shoulder. "Celebrate, but remember, growth is more than victory. Your story will inspire the next generation." Chengze nodded and looked at the starry sky. The Milky Way was as peaceful as a new life, and the lights of the colonial galaxy were connected. Wealth poured into his account, enough to rebuild the Thunder tenfold, but he knew this was not the end. The passionate young man has transformed into a hero. Speed is no longer an obsession, but a bond that connects everyone. In the square, the music was racing at the speed of light. As everyone cheered, he raised his glass, "For the Milky Way and our future." Under the night, the remaining warmth of the celebration is like a warm starry wind, and the Milky Way returns to peace without the shadow of crisis. Chengze's dream came true, and the glory of the championship came with responsibility. He turned around and hugged his partners, and his laughter echoed among the stars. Everything was as complete as the predicted final chapter.